This week's Monday Mercy is a bit different to usual. I was away a few days ago with the Christ Central group of churches praying. It was a day of prayer and we were worshipping and praying. Basically, we were praying into kind of the bit in Isaiah 9 where it talks about the governance is on his shoulders, Jesus' shoulders. And I just felt this real sense as we were kind of praying for the UK in particular, I guess, that God was saying that as a nation we are going into a time of deep darkness. Now that is a heavy word, it's a bleak word. I don't think I've ever bought a word like it, but I had this real strong impression from the Lord that he was saying we're going into a time of deep darkness as a nation, and that we need to know that it's not just weeks or months, but actually we're probably talking years. And other people have prophesied this in the past. People who we trust, who are friends of Jubilee Plus, who we respect, who have a track record of prophesying things that come to pass, have prophesied that we are going into a season of the famine like in the time of Joseph, that if we thought the era of austerity or the previous years were a time of famine, that actually they're going to look like the fat years compared to the famine that is coming. And I think sometimes we can get in our heads, because the word crisis is used a lot, that this is a short-term thing, that if we can just ride it out for a few weeks or this winter, then it will be okay. But I really believe that God is saying that actually it's not going to be like that. It is going to be a time of deep darkness. And the reason God tells us these things is twofold. One is so that we're not taken by surprise. You know, we see it in the Bible all the time. God speaks to his people. He lets them know what's going to happen. It's so that we won't be shocked. We won't be thinking, where's God gone? What's God doing? We'll know that actually he has told his people that this is going to happen. And the second reason is so that we can prepare. And I think that's the bit that we're not great at. I think as individual Christians and as churches, we hear words sometimes like this, and we think that that they kind of resonate with us, they connect with us, but we aren't sure what to do with them. But I believe that God is saying this now so that we can prepare, not for a short-term crisis, but for a longer-term period of darkness. And I think that the Lord wants us to remember that the Bible tells us there are two things that kind of sit on the shoulders of God. One is actually the governance of the whole world. In Isaiah, it tells us the government shall be on his shoulders, on Jesus' shoulders. And then in Deuteronomy 33, we also read that the beloved of the Lord rests between his shoulders. So these two things, the governance of the whole world, and you and me, we sit in the shoulders, on the shoulders of God, and we're to hold on to that in a time of darkness. But I believe also there's a promise that it's not just a season of darkness, that though it might feel like we are going into a dark tunnel, and it almost might feel like, wow, we thought we'd come out the other side much quicker, but we're not, we're still in deep darkness. There's a promise in the scriptures that the darkness doesn't overcome the light. The light comes into the world, the darkness has not overcome it, and that we need to persevere and we need to endure through a season of darkness, and we need to prepare to help many, many people around us who are going to need us to be hope bringers in this time of darkness, who are going to need us to keep bringing hope and mercy and compassion and justice during this time of darkness. But that at the end of the season of darkness, there will be great light as many, many people come to find not just help in our churches, but also hope, and come to find Jesus, and that many, many will come to know, I believe thousands of people will come to know Jesus and the hope that he offers us, not just for this life, but for all eternity. So that's just the word that I felt to bring at the Christ Central Prayer Days, and I wanted to record it because I think this is some of what we're going to explore at this year's Churches That Change Communities Conference. What is God saying to his people at the moment? And what do we need to do? What can we do? How can we prepare? What do we need to do for not just the short term, but also the medium term and the long term? So I hope that that kind of connects with you in some way and is helpful in some way. We need to pray into it, and we need to remember as well, actually, that the call on us right now, also from Isaiah, is to arise and shine, for the glory of the Lord is upon you. So we need to do that. This isn't a time for us to sit down in the darkness. It's a time for us to arise and shine and proclaim the light.